Thanks for joining us and welcome back to part 4 of our Dubai adventure. In this episode, we hit our big bucket list item, Red Dunes by quad bike, plus sandboarding, a camel ride, and a barbecue at Al Khayyama camp. For this video, you will find helpful links listed in the description below. We awoke to an amazing sunrise. This picture doesn't do it justice as the colors almost every morning are more vivid in yellow, orange, and red. Traffic seemed minimal and we decided to take it easy the first half of the day to conserve energy for our big afternoon. Since we were so close to the beach, we decided to spend more time walking the JBR area seen here in the blue circle. Along the beach walk are many stores, restaurants, and beautiful public spaces like this reflecting pool. As you can see, the pools surround growing trees and gardens. Architecture gives way to art as infinity pools create shapes that look like they would go together in a puzzle. We each had a typical American breakfast with eggs, pancakes, and toast, served with coffee and juice at the IHOP on the corner of Al Mamsha Street and Al Yalat Street. It cost around $40 and was well worth it as we sat outside and watched passers-by and indulged in our meal. On the way out, we crossed the street so my husband could get his picture taken near this beautiful Ferrari. As you can see, women dress more conservatively the further away from the beach they are. The stairway on the left took us up to more shopping, restaurants, our grocery store, and our hotel. At the beach, we saw someone whose job included sweeping sand off the tile steps. Further down the beach, we saw fish in the warm Gulf water. As I mentioned in a previous episode, families are encouraged to visit this area. This photo shows a playground that is shaded to keep the toys and children from overheating. After a considerable amount of online shopping, reviews, and ratings checking, we booked our desert experience through TripAdvisor with Ocean Air Travels. Sometimes it's hard to know for sure what you're going to get once you book an experience, so we decided to keep our minds open to the possibility that just about anything can happen. Our Ocean Air Travels tour guide, his name is Shihab, picked us up at our hotel right on time. Then he picked up 2 other couples at nearby hotels to join us for the adventure. He gave us clear instructions and expectations for our afternoon. What he said seemed too good to be true. It took approximately 1 hour to reach the destination here in the middle of the Red Sands Desert. Here's another money-saving tip. Before we went in to get our quad bikes and helmets, Shihab told us to be aware that the shops near the entrance would be fitting our heads with scarves unless we said we weren't interested. My husband let the shop owner fit him with the scarf. Then he told my husband it would cost him 20 AED. Since it was a calm day, my husband gave him back the scarf and said he was not interested. The shop owner was very nice about it. Now, within a half an hour, we had all been fit with helmets and saddled in our 2-person quads. Here's another money-saving tip. We did have the option to upgrade to single-ride quads, but it's not necessary as the 2 people can take turns on the drive out or back from the desert. The desert is vast, and it's each driver's responsibility to follow the tour guide as best he can. Our tour guide pointed to the mountains beyond the desert and told us that they represent the border of Oman. As you can see here, our desert ride was approximately 40 miles from the border. About 20 minutes into our ride, we stopped for a water break. Shihab offered to take pictures of each of the couples with the bike or posing in the desert sand. Then he let us give sandboarding a try. He had 2 boards for us to trade out and gave everyone the chance to try it until we were done. It took us about 20 minutes. Clear instructions helped us to keep it together all the way down the hill on the very first try. My husband and I switched places for the last half of the ride. While my aptitude for driving a quad across sand was something to be desired, Shihab stopped us and offered to film us riding in the desert. At one point, I wanted to cry for living out this dream, but I stopped myself when I realized that this was no place for tears. Once we had checked our helmets and quads back into the riding center, we got back in the car and drove another 20 minutes to Al Khayyama camp, where we would spend the rest of our evening. We tried camel riding when we first arrived, which lasted about 10 minutes, but it was plenty for our first experience. While our camel guide walked along, we noticed the Burj Khalifa on the horizon near the setting sun. Later, we found out that the Burj Khalifa was approximately 37 miles away. For people who live in the Pacific Northwest, it's like being able to see a building in downtown Seattle all the way from Sumner, Bonney Lake, and the Puyallup area. Our shadows grew long as we returned to the camp. Before we walked in to find our table, Shihab let us feed baby camels and take more pictures. Shihab led us to our table, then took us inside one of the tents to show us where we could help ourselves to snacks, coffee, and water. Once our group was settled at the table, Shihab told us all the things we could do. We could souvenir shop at the booths, ride the camels again, shisha smoke, get henna tattoos, hold one of the trained hawks, or just relax. Note, there were no extra expenses here unless you bought souvenirs. Tips were gladly accepted for any of the services. Dinner was served buffet style behind one of the tents. We helped ourselves to a number of meat, rice, and salad dishes. Dessert was fresh fruit served with bread pudding. It was a delightful meal, and as you can see here, the stage show began as dinner concluded. Here, a whirling dervish spins for long periods. He put on an amazing show with lights and other props. Somehow, he never lost his footing. Next was a talented fire eater. He had some incredible stunts of his own. Last came the belly dancer, who got some people in the audience to dance. At the end of the evening, they announced that they would be turning off the lights for a few minutes so that we could see the stars and gain some perspective from our time there. It was quiet, but the full moon shone bright, so it was difficult to see any stars. It was the best way they could have ever ended the evening for us. This is the end of part 4 and our 5th day in Dubai. Stay tuned as our next episode covers our experience at the Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, and the aquarium and underwater zoo. As always, thanks for watching and feel free to subscribe and give this video a like. Leave any questions or comments you have below, and see you next time.